Phones on silent.
Yeah.
Right.
That's not gonna work. Good reminder.
And that's a Hinge.
Going on airplane mode.
Dating in London can be, like in any major city, interesting. It can be super fun, but it can also be kind of confusing and frustrating. Personally, I'm quite new to the single in London life, so I've brought a couple of my friends over to go through some of my questions and some of your questions about what it's like to be a part of the dating scene in London. So let me introduce you to them.
I am Kelli. I'm 29 years old. I work in architecture and art, and I'm from Miami, Florida.
Hi everyone, I'm Paige Mariah. I'm a digital content creator on YouTube. I'm from Chicago, Illinois, and I'm 29 years old.
Yay! And I'm Jess. I am a digital content creator on this YouTube channel. I'm from New York originally, been here for 8 years, and I'm 32. And how long have you guys been single and dating in London for?
I am going on a year and a half.
I have been single since I moved to London. I ended my last relationship right before moving. I took a break from dating for all of 2019 and then was, prepared to date in 2020. But we all know what happened. So I guess you could say I've been dating for like a year or so.
So obviously we're all Americans and we're all women and we all identify as straight women. So this is very much about our own experiences. However, in the future, I'd love to do videos that speak to men, non-binary people, people who are in the LGBTQ+ community. So if you're one of those people who lives in London and would like to be in one of these videos, do let us know in the comments. Okay, so we're gonna start this conversation with a couple of questions from me. And then we've had the Love in London community submit a bunch of questions on Instagram that we're going to answer afterwards. So hopefully you get lots of stuff from our experiences of dating in London. You guys look so nervous. So my first question is, what is one good thing that you think there is about dating in London?
What I've enjoyed definitely is the fact that there are so many different kinds of people, every different kind of person that lives here. It's such a diverse and fun, eclectic group of, individuals who live in London.
I would definitely agree with that point. And just being in like such a major city, such a fun city that always has like activities and different exhibits and just cool things to check out with the person that you're going on a date with. I think there's always something to do.
Always an interesting date. Mm-hmm. Like go axe throwing.
You wanted to.
Let's do that.
Yeah. Now we know where you've been.
I haven't actually, but if anyone's looking to take me out, you know where to
You know how to swoon her.
Yeah. Pick one. What's one bad thing about dating in London? Yeah.
I would say from my personal experience, just being an American in London, I'm gonna generalize a little bit, but some British men don't take dating me as seriously because they think I'm here temporarily. Mm-hmm. So they don't think that I'm looking for something long term, even if I might be. And they kind of assume that it's gonna be like a casual situation, and that's not.
Because I've been dating so much on the app, I've sort of struggled with that, like trying to just establish what both of you want, what the boundaries are, how you want to sort of date safely. And yeah, it's been a very interesting sort of field to navigate.
To me, it just seems all very fickle, but maybe it's just my recent experiences. Yeah, it just seems very like hot and cold. Mm-hmm. And
I think that's just dating app culture, right?
Yeah,
for sure.
There's too many options.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm. What is the best first date or second date location that you've been in London?
I got asked to go to the theater, which was awesome. So I went to Death of a Salesman, but I have to say more on it because it's just so hilarious the way he planned it. Well, he thought it'd be very endearing, sweet, to also go to the same play that his parents were going to, that were sat about 12 rows away. Didn't tell me, I had no idea.
What?
This is your favorite date?
Okay, it is. Yeah, I'm gonna say yes.
This was the first date or the second date?
A first date. And I showed up, I had no idea, he didn't say it until after the play, and then he goes, I'm not gonna lie, he's like, my parents are at this play with us, and I'm just like, immediately like, oh, shit. I had a whole bottle of wine, so I was like, all right, yeah, sure, why not? I'm not gonna lie, I ended up meeting his parents. They were so lovely. We ended up having a whole night together, the four of us. It wasn't creepy, it wasn't weird, all that. And he said the next day, because I said to him, like, bit much introducing me to your parents on a first date. He's like, just thought it might be cute, I'd try it. And to be fair, it kind of played in his favor. We did go on a couple dates after that.
Wow.
Okay.
I mean, mean, I don't feel like I've been on any spectacular dates, if I'm being completely honest. But I mean, there was this one guy, so his family was from Nigeria originally. So he took me to like this authentic Nigerian restaurant because he knew I had never tried that, you know, type of food before. And I felt like it was nice for him to like introduce me to this culture. It just felt, I don't know, it felt really nice.
I think for me, it would be pretty proud of myself because I was the one who picked it. But I found this place in Hoxton, this little rooftop bar that like nobody knows about it. It's called TT's and they have such good cocktails, like such good cocktails. And it's such a cute little spot. Oh, and also I had a first date once where at the end of the night we went to the Vault, which is in at the bottom of Milroy's, which is a whiskey bar in Soho. Like you have to push a bookcase back to like get into it, so it's a speakeasy. Yeah. So again, it's like, I know this cool little place. Yeah. So I do use my job to
You
try
wined
to,
and dined to this man.
I
Lucky
tried,
him.
yeah.
Well done.
What about the worst location that you had a first or a second date?
I feel like this is the best that we could do at the time. So, you know, when London was starting to open up a little bit again last summer, I did a lot of park dates.
Yeah.
A lot of walking dates. And I hate to say that's like the worst thing, because I mean, it's nice to just go on a walk with somebody and get to know them, but I feel like the guys who are already lazy daters were really just getting away with it this time, because they're like, oh, all we can do is go for a walk in the park. And I'm like, okay, I guess. But these guys probably wouldn't have wanted to do anything like special, you know, like if it wasn't a pandemic. So I don't know.
Mine just happened recently and we talked about it. We sort of touched base on it. Oh God, but it had to do more with him than it had to do with the location. But at the same time, now thinking about it, the location had a lot to do with it. But it was the fact that he really used that to his advantage. Like it was like he loved explaining the rules to me as if I had no idea, you know, what was going on here. And you could just tell he was really
I should explain what was up.
No.
I should explain what Shoreditch House is.
Right.
It's part of Soho House. It's a members club, so it's a like exclusive, and sometimes members will try to like, it gets a bit like wanky, as we say here.
Yeah. And when you want to date with someone who suggests it, who really loved himself, probably way more than he had any interest in you, it served for a really awkward second date. And he also made me pay for everything.
Okay, so we're gonna move on now to the questions that my Instagram followers submitted about dating in London. So we will start with Gio Cal, who asked, do people use dating apps?
The only one that I use would be Hinge.
Me too.
I've tried Tinder in the past, but I just feel like, I mean, this may not be true for everyone, but I feel like there's better quality guys on Hinge. Like, I don't know. I think Tinder has gotten that reputation of being more so a hookup app. And even though there's guys on Hinge who are looking to hook up as well, don't get me wrong, I would say that you will have a better chance of finding guys who are looking for something long-term or something more serious on Hinge.
So my last relationship ended 2 weeks before the pandemic happened. And then trying to now navigate a pandemic life while also like trying to now figure out like your single self, I heavily relied on the apps. But I knew from past experience, like when I was like 21, didn't want to do Tinder anymore. So I've done Hinge and Bumble. And Bumble I give a bit of credit for, because women have a lot more of the sort of like autonomy in a way that you choose who you speak to, you choose when you speak to them. And I did like that a lot. But at the same time, there's this time constraint that like, you know, it's a weird navigation of apps in general, but then when you add a bunch of like sort of rules that you have to do while doing, get kind of confusing. So Hinge was, and has been, my sort of go-to.
How about you, Jess?
I'm on Hinge and I'm exhausted, so.
It's a lot of admin. So much admin.
So much admin.
You've got to keep up on it. Like you have to be checking constantly, because I think the turnover rate is so quickly, not in terms of like people, but like if you don't respond to a message.
Oh my gosh, you'll get unmatched sometimes if you don't respond quickly enough. I'm just like,
which is so aggressive.
M. Pritchardson asked, using dating apps versus meeting the old-fashioned way. And also Amelia Rue CK asked if it's possible to meet partners without dating apps. And then finally, actually, JCH asked, how do you meet people without an app?
I mean, I would always prefer to meet people in person, but the times that we're in right now, like you have to work with what you have. And I feel like it's way more difficult to meet people in person now. I mean, obviously things are starting to open back up, But there was a time where that was all we had for like interaction in that way. So I was definitely going to be on the apps doing what I had to do to meet somebody. I mean, there are other ways, like being a part of like different groups or I don't know, work and different situations.
I think as a New Yorker and probably as Americans, I think we would probably all agree that it's much more closed off here. People are much more closed off here. Whereas in New York, I'm like, yeah, exactly. Which I'm like, I've adopted that way. But in New York, you guys and women are much more comfortable, much more assertive, and will go up to somebody at a bar, or go up to somebody anywhere, really.
Meet people in the wild again it's totally doable, and it's actually really great, but I think it's a sort of practice we have to get back into doing because we got so used to being closed off.
It's so nice, like catching someone's eye, like across the room.
It's just
like
a bit of a spark. You don't know anything.
So Chamber of Reflection asks for non-expensive date ideas.
The park.
I was about to say the walks.
Yeah.
Those walks, I saved so much money dating in lockdown.
You don't have to walk, I
little
think,
picnics.
right?
No.
Yeah, picnics.
I had some really cute picnics.
Great
throughout lockdown.
picnics.
Like, not
Definitely.
only, I should have said that. It wasn't always walks. Sometimes we actually had picnics and the guy would like show up with like a blanket and all the snacks and stuff. That was cute.
If the weather is bad, coffee's a good option.
And it makes you have a daytime interaction with them, which is obviously always quite different than if you're going to have a nighttime interaction with them.
Coops Cabri asked, what's the best way to strike up a conversation with a woman in London? Honestly, I feel like it's like talking.
Yeah.
Because I don't think it happens very much. So just actually going up, but not when they're in the middle of, when we're like in the middle of something.
Not when we're working out at the gym.
Yeah.
Or, like a handful of girls, like, wait for the right moment.
Yeah. I find a good way to start it is like a very top line compliment of like, oh, I really like your shirt. Because then that's a really good like non-threatening way to just kind of be like, if I don't want to continue the conversation, then I'll just be like, thank you so much, and then walk away, and then you kind of like have the answer.
I usually use the favor method. And it's like asking them a favor, because I read in this book that it said that like actually when you first meet someone, an instant connection that helps, if not sexual or based off like purely platonic. It's one of those things that if you ask someone to help you with something, they tend to actually trust you a bit more and like it feels a bit more connection. So obviously I use that as my method to talk to guys or something. I'll be like, can you hold this really quick for a quick second while I'm doing something? Or you go up and or you'd be like, can you help like just tie my shoe really sorry, do you mind like I have to tie my shoe, and like you kind of use them to just like
cute.
And it engages in a way that it's like, it's purely platonic. It's nothing that's gonna be, it doesn't imply or insinuate anything, but
just gonna be from the American perspective. I feel like my accent has really helped me a lot with being here. Like just being at like a pub or a bar or whatever, like I'll just be at the, ordering at the till or whatever, or the cashier, and they'll just be standing next to me and overhear me speaking, and they're like, looking, and I'll be like, what? I know what.
I know exactly what you know.
They're like, what are you doing?
I don't know if like we know, but like
I know. But yeah, I'll speak a little bit louder so you can hear me. But no.
Next question. Joy Turiata asked, how to feel safe when you go on a first date from an app?
That's a great question. Always keep it in a public space. Let your friends know where you're going.
I'd say I always vet at the beginning as well, like before we even go on the date.
Yeah.
I try to always get one FaceTime call before.
Same.
There's also this thing here in London that a lot of the bars participate in that's called Ask for Angela. You'll see in the...
Amazing.
It's really good. It's in the... you'll see in the women's toilets. They might have it in the men's as well, but it's a sign in the doors that say, if you feel unsafe on a date or something's going on, then you can go up to the bar and you can ask for, is Angela here? And that's code to them to like, you need to get out of that situation. So they basically, I think they like bring you in the back of the bar, and then they'll help you to call a taxi or just to make sure that you're safe, and like they're alerted to that the situation is not good. Samia Loves Simbi asked where to go for dates if you don't drink alcohol. You can tell we all love alcohol, but park date is another one.
Museums,
yes.
Mini golf, bowling. Like you don't have to always meet at a pub or something.
As long as you're honest with them, let them know beforehand. Be like, look, drinking's not really my thing. And it's okay if you still meet at a pub or a bar or restaurant. And as long as they're aware, like, and you know, non-judgmental, you wouldn't want to date someone anyways who would, you know, judge you for that.
Juicy one. Diego Benito asked, sex on the first date, question mark. I'll go first. In London, it's whatever you want that. If you want that to happen, that can happen, depending on if that person, the other person you're on the date with wants that to happen, but also equally, it's not expected. And if you're not comfortable doing that, that's also completely fine. So
I mean, as long as it's obviously consensual and you guys are like, you can very much so get the vibe that both of you want it. And if so, have a great time.
Right.
No judgment.
Right.
But I do think it is one of those things that, because as mainly from app dating and what I've had experience with app dating, that if it's not both sides, both parties wanting it, I think there needs to be a bit more of a understanding between the two, and like being able to respect that boundary between the two, whether man or female, doesn't matter. But yeah, but other than that, have fun, kids.
Yeah. And Leatheries asks, should a guy ask the girl out or does it not matter?
Doesn't matter. But I'm quite ballsy. Like, I'll go for it. It's like, if it's one of those things, like you're chatting, you guys are getting on with each other, I'll definitely ask them out. I think the gender roles in dating, especially in 2021, are not as existent as they, or not as prevalent as they used to be.
That's why there's apps like Bumble where the woman gets to make the first move.
Okay, thank you to these lovely ladies for coming on to the video and talking about their experiences. If you want to see more videos like this, where we talk about dating for other groups or just other topics about dating, then let me know in the comments. And especially if anybody wants to come on and talk about dating, then we're all ears. Love to have you on. Thank you so much for watching, and to watch another video about lifestyle and things about living in London, then click one of the boxes that's popping up around me. See you in the next video. Dating in London. Too much wine for this.
I was about to say, bro, come on.